New Jersey went ahead and did it, and the assembly went off and approved the 10-round magazine limit. And from 15 rounds to 10 rounds, which is arbitrary as hell. And I just have some thoughts on just the whole thing, aside from the fact that I think that Christie is going to veto it. That's just my opinion, but we'll see. I don't even know whether I'm going to give up my magazines or not. I might just say fuck it. I don't know. Right? In my mind, like, all these gun laws are racist. Watch all the pro-gun people who are majority white go, oh my God, see, I'm not listening to this video. He threw the race card, right? Which is basically, white people's way of saying, how dare you speak about race and racism on your terms and not our terms. But anyway, I digress from that point. Why do I say the gun laws are racist? Well, we already know the gun laws were originally instituted to keep guns out of the hands of black people, right? From the Ku Klux Klan all the way up to the 1968, Gun Act, right? Which, made it an idea that, felons shouldn't have guns, and plus a whole host of other things that they had that were put in place. But the main thing of the 1968 Gun Act was to make sure felons don't have guns. And then, the whole, arresting the Black Panthers on trumped up charges and all this, as long as we can get black men to have a felony, then we can remove, their Second Amendment rights, legitimately. Right? Oh, you're a felon. Sorry, you can't have a gun. Trumped up charge. Up, sprinkle some crack all over the place. Up, you're a felon. Whatever. So I don't even need to go down the route of the past and how the gun laws were originally instituted to keep guns out of the hands of black people, which is even something that the NRA now all of a sudden, since their organization is being threatened by, all these, left-wing, laws and whatnot. Now they're more than willing to acknowledge that, right? But even today, the reasons for instituting, these gun bans and gun limits and everything is race. It's in and of itself. Why do I say that? How do I say that? There was one white guy on YouTube who made a video. I can't find a video. It's probably still there. Even Yankee Marshall touched on it a little bit, and I think he was influenced by this guy's video, this white guy's video, where basically the guy said, is white life more precious than black life? Because he was looking at the gun laws and pointing out how anytime it's an urban area, the gun laws are more strict. Anytime it's a high minority, demographic area, the gun laws are more, less free, which is the same as being more strict, or stricter. But one of the things that really stuck with me, and I had been thinking this before I even saw his video, was, and I've said it numerous times in the videos that I've already posted, was the fact that the whole, let's get assault weapons and the whole, we got to create crazier gun laws and all this other stuff, it didn't come out, as a result of, all the black males that are dying in inner cities as a result of drug-related crimes, because there are no economic opportunities in those areas. The factories left, America deindustrialized. I've already covered all of that, right? But, black males have been dying at the hands of the gun, plus other innocent bystanders, little kids on big wheels and stuff. You know, they get caught in the crossfire and stuff like that. This stuff has been going on, you know, for decades, right? And there was no call on the part of, you know, the government, or as I see it, the white government and the white politicians and all that other stuff, to, you know, ban these guns. Okay, there was no call on limiting magazines or anything like that. Now, you may have had some black Democrats that jumped up and said that because they're dealing with the situation in their district, in their community, in their environment. Okay, from their constituents. Okay, you know, because the drugs are so or the guns are so pervasive and so strongly linked to the drug culture, because that's the only way that if I'm a drug dealer, the only way I'm going to enforce, you know, my rules or you know, make sure that this block is mine is with guns. That's the only way you're going to do it. It's only, oh, he stole my drugs. You know, you're not going to call the cops and be like, hey, they stole my drugs. Can you bring them back? No. Now you got to go kill somebody, because if they steal your drugs, then, you know, your reputation goes down the shitter and other people think that they can steal drugs for you, right? So it doesn't matter what it is, mob, you know, drug dealers, black drug dealers, whatever. That's how the game of when you're doing illegal shit, from moonshining to bootlegging and all that, that's how that game is played. Okay, it can only be enforced by force. Okay, so guns are going to be tied to the whole drug thing. So the black politicians, they jump up and, you know, they don't care what's going on out in the rest of America. They don't care about people hunting and shit like that. They don't even look at it from the standpoint, which is stupid and a misguided way of looking at it. They don't even look at it from the standpoint of, you know, well, maybe if we had guns, we'd be able to take back our own streets. You know, which technically speaking, that's not the real way of approaching the problem. Like having a whole bunch of black vigilante groups riding around and getting rid of the drug dealers. Some people say, oh, you know, that's the way you handle it. But at the end of the day, you still have a community that doesn't have any economic opportunities to provide for its own people. So because of that, the young men that are born, you know, don't have anything to walk into. Here comes Mr., you know, drug dealer, says, hey, man, you know, you're 22 years old. You don't have a job. You're living at your mom's house. You're broke. You don't have a car. You ain't got shit. You know, nobody's going to hire you because of some, you know, the stereotypes that surround black people. If you got a black sounding name, you get 50% less callback because your name is Jamal or Tyrone or Marquise or something like that. So they're not going to call you back. So you're basically fucked. So what do you want to do? I got $5,000 for you a week for you selling these drugs on the corner or whatever. What you going to do? Motherfuckers going to pick up that. You know, you can take the $5,000 or you can go walk your ass over there and work at McDonald's for $8 an hour, which isn't going to give you enough money to do shit. Right? So motherfuckers go off and they go the drug route. But like what really like frustrates me is how none of these gun laws were put in place by white people that are, you know, that's going on now because of all the deaths that were going on in the black community. Nobody gave a fuck. Nobody cared. Okay? And now they're, you know, creating these laws and they keep bringing up the children at Sandy Hook and the children in Newtown and they have this stupid ass idea that somebody's going to be able to jump up and tackle somebody because, you know, oh my God, they're reloading. These people have watched way too many damn movies. That's all I got to say about it. They watch way too many movies. You know, of the gunner that somehow fumbles over his magazines or his gun just, you know, miraculously jams, you know, and oh, that's our time, you know, and the stupid thing is like a jam is completely different from reloading, but that's a whole different conversation, you know, and I've seen arguments about, you know, oh, you know, it'll limit them from mass shootings, you know, limit them for their ability to kill so many people in mass shootings. And I'm like, last mass shooting, I believe that was in New Jersey was done with a shotgun, right? You had the mall shooting. I don't know what he used in the mall shooting in New Jersey. and I believe that guy, he didn't even kill anybody. He ended up killing himself. And then you had the other guy that in the supermarket that killed a bunch of people in the supermarket, and I believe he had a shotgun. So the magazine limit wouldn't have done anything in reference to that. But the thing is like mass shootings are so fucking rare compared to uh the gun violence that goes on in inner cities every day. There's more people dying, all across. I could take all the black communities all across America. There is a Sandy Hook every day in the black community all across America. But because it's Sandy Hook and it's this one concentrated event that everybody seems to want to rally behind, that somehow becomes more important than what goes on every day all across America in, these urban environments. Every day there's another Sandy Hook. Every day, right? But that's not why they're throwing in the 10 round, magazine ban. No, in New Jersey, they want to throw in the 10 round magazine ban because of Sandy Hook, which like, it's just this, oh, and what about the children? And granted, like, I'm not trying to sound cold or heartless, like I don't care about the lives of children and stuff like that, but seriously speaking, there's so many guns out there that you're not going to be able to stop something like that. Yes, any law body, like here's the thing, what I want to take this. In New Jersey, it's like I have guns, I have firearms. If I wanted to walk out my house right now, regardless of the fact that there is no CCW in New Jersey, if I wanted to walk out of the house right now, even with just 10 rounds, okay, I could go out there and blow a couple people's heads. I could walk into a Wegmans and blow people's heads off. I could, right? And I could take, the 5 magazines I have for one gun and go. Now, if you think that somebody's going to jump up and stop me as opposed to run in the other direction as I'm reloading, you got to be an asshole. Like, if you think that that's what's going to happen, like some brave soul. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I'm saying talk about, reducing it down to, the 1 or 2% chance that that's even going to happen. If I was in a supermarket and I started hearing gunshots, I'm looking for an exit. I'm running in the other direction. I'm trying to get away. I'm not trying to, this ain't Last Action Hero, but apparently they think that. Not to mention the fact that it's like, they'll make the argument that all the states around New Jersey have lax gun laws, and therefore these people can get guns easily, and they're coming into the state, which means that none of the process that exists in New Jersey is where even a fraction of the guns are coming from. You got to get an FID card. You got to get fingerprinted. Your local police have to approve it. The state police have to approve it. And even when you get a handgun, it's registered. So you have to register handguns in New Jersey, right? That's what you have to do in New Jersey. You have to register them. So even like back when they were trying to do the whole, everybody has to go through a background checks, like they were even trying to pass that in New Jersey. When it doesn't affect, and I remember there was a Congress, or not a congressman, but a person in the Assembly or the State Senate that even addressed that. They were like, if I have to get an FID card and there's a registry, then even if I wanted to sell, like if example, in New Jersey, let's say I have a firearm, I want to sell it to my friend. My friend has to have an FID card. Not only that, but he has to go back to the police station and get a permit to purchase, and get the permit to purchase as if he was going to buy a brand new gun from the store. And then I take my gun to the gun store, to an FFL dealer. He brings his permit to the FFL dealer, and then the paperwork is done, and then the exchange is made, and then he gives me the money, and I have to give the FFL dealer some money for him to do the whole transaction. So there is no direct, like the whole concept of all the guns have to go through background check as it pertains to handguns is completely false. But even still, you say, oh, well, you can sell a long arm to anybody in New Jersey, No, I can only sell a long arm to anybody in New Jersey that has an FID card. I can't sell a long gun to anybody in New Jersey or outside of New Jersey. Well, outside of New Jersey, I could sell it to anybody. So that's where your whole federal shit would come in. But inside New Jersey, I can't sell it to anybody inside New Jersey unless they have an FID card. If I do, I'm going to jail if I get caught, regardless of the fact that the gun is not registered to me. Okay? Where'd he get the gun from? Oh, I got it from so-and-so. All right, boom. We go to his house. Bam, SWAT team on my shit. Right? And you know they're going to come with the SWAT team because they know that I have handguns in the house because my guns are registered. And all they got to do is say, oh, we're going to such and such address. Oh, he has guns. They're going to have SWAT team outside the house and everything. Like, they're not just going to come to the house like as they normally would, knock on the door and say police. Like, no, they're going to come with people across the street already aimed at my front door. That's how it goes down in New Jersey because, if you have a handgun and they know that you have a handgun, when they show up to your house, they're not just going to show up to your house for an event. They're like, we know he has a gun. And they assume that because you have a gun in the house that you're going to use it. So they come like full force SWAT team, all other type of shit. It's ridiculous in New Jersey, but that's how shit goes down for the people who don't know how it goes down in New Jersey. But it's like, okay, here's another one. They can get guns outside of New Jersey, and that's where most of the guns are coming from. Okay, so what makes you think that they can't get magazines outside New Jersey? What makes you think that they can't get a magazine? Like, if I wanted to go on a mass shooting, like I could go to the Oaks Gun Show tomorrow. Let's say they have another Oaks Gun Show in Pennsylvania. I could go to the Oaks Gun Show and get a 20-round magazine, which is already illegal in New Jersey. I buy it. I don't have to go through a background check for, a magazine. So I buy the 20-round magazine. I drive back to New Jersey, right? I walk directly into my house, and I now have a 20-round magazine that no official in the state of New Jersey knows that I have. They don't know that I have it. And if I wanted to go on a mass shooting with my 20-round magazine, I could go off and do it despite the fact that there is no carry law in New Jersey. So I'm breaking the law the minute I walk onto the sidewalk with my firearm. I'm breaking the law. I get into my car with the firearm on my hip in my crossbreed holster. I'm breaking the law. Right? I have a 20-round magazine with 20 bullets in the magazine. I'm breaking the law. I drive to a school. I'm on school property. I'm breaking the law. And all during this process, there is no police officer looking over my shoulder, getting ready to jump out of the bushes and stop me until I actually commit the violent act. Once I commit the violent act, then, if I don't kill myself at the event, okay, or at the school, if I don't put the gun to my head and shoot myself, well, and they actually come in there and they arrest me and they shoot me in the abdomen and I fall to the ground. I try to shoot myself and I can't, right? So because my gun's going to magically jam at that point, right? Or somehow I was in the middle of reloading just as they came in and busted it, right? So whatever, right? So now I'm in court, and despite the fact that I should already be getting the death sentence, or I should already be doing life in prison because, I shot a whole bunch of small children. They're going to try to add now it's doing shit that's not effective. Like, it's like when judges jump up and they're like, we sent you to 145 years. And I'm like, what the fuck is the point of that? Who's living 145 years? We don't know. Maybe technology will allow. I'm like, come on, get real. Like, they have people who are in jail, consecutive life sentences. How about you just say you just never going to get out of jail? How about you just say that? So in other words, I'll be in jail, right? So I'm sitting there like the dude with the orange hair, the Colorado shooting, right? And they're like, not only did he break the law in leaving his house, right? Because let's say I shot with a gun that I legally have, right? Not only did he break the law in leaving his house, he broke the law in not transporting his gun in the car, legally in the trunk of his car, in a lockbox, 2 separate lockboxes, one, the magazine in the lockbox and the gun in another lockbox. So he's guilty of that. He's also guilty of of carrying a loaded firearm without a firearms permit. He's guilty of that. So that should add another 5 years to the life sentence that he's already serving. Okay. And then what else is he guilty of? He's guilty of carrying a firearm on school grounds. He's guilty of that. So that adds another 15 years to the life sentence I'm already fucking serving. Right. And then he murdered a bunch of helpless and defenseless children. Right. Which would be the life sentence that I'm serving. Right. Or the death sentence that I'm serving. Right. Like, these laws do absolutely nothing to prevent the actual crime. And I'm not sitting there and say, do absolutely nothing, but the idea and the concept that you're going to have a society where you have, people who have firearms in their home, and yet you feel a step safer because they can't carry them in public. But yet, I mean, who are we more concerned about? Are we concerned about the law-abiding citizens carrying guns and going off and shooting people which they already could if they wanted to, just, saying fuck it and walking out of their house, breaking all sorts of laws until they get to their destination and go shoot some people? Or are we worried about, where the majority of the homicides are coming from, which are homicides that are related to the narcotics, industry. Okay. Right. I mean, they could get rid of the shit overnight if they wanted to. Simple. In the war on drugs, you destroy you completely eviscerate the market for it, and talk about some, bringing industrious jobs back to the United States, in a lot of these urban environments where that's where most of the people got their jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go back and you look at like these black and white pictures, like go and look at some black and white pictures from Philadelphia in the 19-teens, 1920s, 1930s, 1940s. Okay, look at pictures of Camden back in the 1930s and 40s and 50s, right? Just go back and look at these inner city pictures. And I'm saying those row homes were built for people who worked in the factories. Okay, that's what those row homes were built for. That's how those communities, came to be. Okay, these were not wealthy white people. They were not they were not well to do. Okay, they worked for a living. They punched in a clock. They got paid decent wages. They were able to support a family. It's funny, and this is on a side note. It's funny how some of the same people who will sit there. Right, I'm talking to you conservatives, and in addition to some of the gun people, you'll sit there and say that people shouldn't be paid livable wages or decent wages, or unions are bad and all this other stuff. And a lot of the people who are running around educated now with degrees, making six figures or more, okay, were able to go to college because their grandfather punched a clock or their father punched a clock, who paid for them to go to college so that they can now go off and make their white collar six-figure jobs. But they'll doo-doo on the idea and the concept of paying somebody, $30 an hour to put a car together or work in a factory because they feel that they shouldn't make that much money because I have an education and they must stay down there significantly below me because, I have a superiority complex over uneducated, semi-skilled workers. So I feel that I should be making this much, but they shouldn't make that much. I'm like, fuck you. Fuck you. You wouldn't even be there if it wasn't even for those fucking wages, because you damn sure didn't pay for college yourself. Your dad or your grandfather or your mother or whoever paid for those college wages that you when you went to college in 1972 and 1985 or 1994 or 2000. Your parents paid for those things. And I'm saying the further you go back, maybe not in the 2000s, maybe that's too early, but I'm saying most people's parents in this country in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and even halfway up through the 70s punched a damn clock. Okay, they punched a clock. And with that type of money, they were able to send their kids to college and everything. Everybody can't go to fucking college. Capitalism wouldn't even support that, because it's like, okay, go to college. All right, everybody goes to college. Okay, who's going to pump the gas? Who's going to plow the roads when it snows? Who's going to take out the trash? See, nobody wants to talk about that dynamic. Nobody wants to talk about that the fact that you have people that people think need to stay at the bottom, but yet those are technically the people that keep the whole infrastructure running. Nobody wants to talk about that. They just want to sit there and they want to say, oh, they're beneath me. They don't deserve to even make livable wages. I'm like, fuck out of here, man. Fuck out of here. And then people wonder why we have, this inner city blight. And all I got to say is to white people, when the shit spills out of Newark, one of your asses, at the Short Hills Mall, cry about it. Like, I'm like, whatever. I'm like, it's going to happen. It's bound to happen. It's like that movie Crash. Everybody's connected. We all still have to exist here. We all still have to live here. And if you got people not making money or they can't support their families or this, that, and the third, then you create large ghettos. That's what you create. Sometimes I just think, I'm like, well, why doesn't the Republican Party just fast forward to the Hunger Games? Like, why don't we just fast forward to the fucking Hunger Games and just leave it at that? Like, why not just do that and then call it a day? Like, why not just say that's what our agenda is, right? America's broken up into districts. There's the capital, and then all the districts must supply the capital with goods and services and cheap labor and all of the type of shit. Why not just fucking say that? I mean, it's essentially what New York City is, right? All the working class people are getting pushed the hell out into the outer boroughs and stuff, right? And the rich, white people basically, even against other white people are taking over, right? You can't live in Manhattan if you ain't making, upwards of $300,000 a year. You can't even think about living there, right? And they going out, they moving into Brooklyn, moving in, next will be the moving into Queens, right? Everybody be pushed out, right? And basically what you'll have is in the next, couple decades, you'll have a white elite that live in the inner cities, right, through gentrification, and you'll have all the minorities living out in the rural parts of the country. Right, going back to working on farms and tilling the land and all that other stuff, right? Right? And I bet you if the minorities went out there to till the land and everything, you won't see any farmer subsidies, but that's just a whole different conversation. I'm not even trying to go down that route because this was about guns. The whole system is fucked. The whole system is fucked. The whole system is bound to collapse. Either that or it's going to go and be reduced to some concept of totalitarianism. Like that's what it's going to be, because you cannot have that many people, existing, a subpar existing in poverty like that. You simply cannot have it. And that's what we have. And there's already enough guns out there to where, all those crimes and the drug trade and all that other stuff, that creates the homicides that we see. But again, nobody cared when it was the inner city, even though it's always been the inner city. We only care about little white children in Newtown because little white children, their lives are so precious. Whole shit is fucking racist, but that's how I view it. That's my opinion.